Just to put a timeline to this conversation, you've just returned from Cannes.
Yes.
You had your film playing at Cannes.
Yes.
Clearly, that was a film that everyone was talking about, even here back in India.
I hope so.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And there's that moment where you guys get up after the screening and everyone's clapping and it's a standing ovation, right?
Yeah.
And everyone said 7 minutes. I don't know who did the calculation for 7 minutes. Was it 7 minutes?
Yeah, there's like this whole calculation that happens at Cannes of how long your standing ovation is, apparently. And I had no idea what was going on because it's the first time I was there. But I was shocked. Everybody's on their feet and they're clapping for us. And I mean, you just don't know how to respond other than with just so much emotion, because you're like, wow, this place is filled. If you saw how many people fit in this room and what it looked like, it's overwhelming. I don't even think that I've ever been to a theater in my life that was this big, ever.
I mean, it's surprising that you've never been to Cannes before, and everyone goes to Cannes, it seems, whether or not they have the film. You're the rare one who actually went with a film to Cannes, as against just walking the red carpet or preening, as it were, like a peacock. I mean, in that sense, I want to get to that 7 minutes first. I have a feeling that when you put 7 as in an odd number, it just sounds more credible. Like there was a movie that came out recently called Banda, okay? And that has a massive sequence in the end, which is a courtroom sequence. And everyone's saying it was 7 minutes long too. So I just think that 7 minutes is something that you say, you don't say 6, you don't say 8, you say 7. Yeah. Was it really 7?
That's what I was told. I don't know. I didn't have a watch or any pockets for a phone.
Right. You're too overwhelmed by the moment, weren't you?
Yeah, it was
Were you like teary-eyed?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah? Absolutely. I was crying like a baby the entire week.
No shit, seriously.
Yeah, it was a really emotional trip, because there's two sides of it, right? For myself, which is one, the film, which I'm so happy and so proud that I could be a part of, and directed by someone like Anurag Kashyap, and then Raul did an amazing job. So it's so proud of the film, and the entirety of it and what it represents. And then there's my journey. And then there's what does Cannes mean to me in my own personal journey, which is the most overwhelming part of it all. Because if you told me when I stepped foot in the big boss house that I 10 years later, 11 years later, would be walking at the Cannes Film Festival, I would have told you to go yourself. Like, get out of here. You are out of your mind. If you predicted that was going to happen, I would have thought you were like some crazy man that took some blue pill somewhere and is telling me this nonsense. So for me, it meant so much more because of the crazy journey that I've had. So every interview, every moment, I was trying so hard to not be full on crying. There were tears, but trying really hard not to just start bawling my eyes out.
Wow.
Because it meant so much. It still does. And I think one of the people there, they're like, oh my God, she's crying again. I go, you know what? I had a moment this morning where, when I was all by myself and I thought about that comment, oh my God, she's crying again. And I thought, I'm okay with that, because I never want this moment to end, this feeling of this accomplishment and this feeling of feeling proud and this feeling of feeling like I made it this far. Like I never want that to go away. I always wanted to feel like this is the most amazing thing that's ever happened to me. So if I cry, I'm fine with it.
Of course, the film we're talking about is Kennedy, directed by Anurag Kashyap. I have to say, I think I first saw you at the rap party at somewhere in Andheri. Anurag was there, of course, and that's when you finished the shoot. I'm like, and that's when I first got to know that you're in the film. Like, oh wow! Like there is something that Anurag Kashyap has done throughout his career, which is work with very hardcore actors. From National School of Drama, where there's Gangs of Wasseypur, so many of them, right? I wouldn't put these two together in that sense. How did it happen to you?
Anurag sir called me, and
you call him Anurag sir? Like not Anurag? I mean, he's a pretty chill out guy.
I don't know. I don't know.
You just feel like, I mean, is it a Bombay thing? Is it a Bollywood thing?
Maybe. You know what? I grew up in the US and Canada where we didn't call it unless it was your teacher.
But when you refer to him, do you say Anurag sir?
Yeah, when I'm giving an interview or talking.
But when you're talking to him, you call him sir.
I don't know. What do I call him? I don't know. I'll have to ask him. It's just something that's involuntary that will just come out. So he called me and he said, I have this film and I want you to come in and audition for this part. And I said, okay, absolutely, no problem. I think that he was probably, I guess maybe not nervous, but wondering if I would actually come in.
And audition for a part, right? You've been around for long enough.
But I have no issues with that. So I think what I've unknowingly done over the last 11 years is created this bubble where people think that I'm unapproachable or unavailable or won't do things because of maybe how things have gone. Every film has landed on my shoulders. I've not played a part of a film, but I'm not the leading person in the film, So anyway, so he called me and he said, come in and audition, and I got the lines out of him. He said, at first he said, I'm not going to give you any lines. You just come in and read it. I was like, first of all, I haven't done an audition in years. Please don't do this to me. Please give me the lines. I just don't want the Hindi to be something that's an issue. Because if you ask me to do it in English, it would just come out. Like improv is not something that's difficult. So then I went in, did the audition, and he invited like this. He invited
the crowd, really?
The entire office.
That's unnerving.
It's scary.
Yeah.
To sit in, introduce me to everyone, and then did an audition with Raul. And he said, I think that you would be great for this role of Charlie. But then the worst part, he went, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think?
Like they're all giving you reviews.
Oh my gosh, that was the worst. That was the worst part. It was like a test, but it's an individual's, perspective. So that was very scary. But when I was in Cannes, I found out that they pretty much had made up their mind that they wanted me a part of this. They were just seeing if I would show up.
Right.
I got this after a couple of drinks. Everybody's hanging out, talking. I was like, you guys are so evil. But I was happy that I got to do it either way, because it did push me outside this comfort zone. Because I haven't given an audition in so many years. So
I came across one conversation of yours where you've mentioned something to the effect of how you hired an acting coach.
Yeah.
You were paying $200, $300 an hour to that coach.
Yeah, he's expensive.
Right, to audition for a part.
Yeah.
And then they gave you the job, but they were going to give you no money for it. That you're going to travel economy class for the shoot. Take us through that story.
The economy class was like still okay.
No, it's not
if
okay.
You, if you think of like
economy is not
okay. It wasn't just that. It was everything across the board. And I'm not talking about some small film. I'm not talking about a small budget film. We're not talking about a company or a production house that could not afford these things, that couldn't be put into the budget for an artist. So it just seems so unreasonable. But I did pass the audition. So for that, I'm very happy about. And I think everything happens for a reason.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.